Welcome, everyone. How's that intro? That was awesome. Thank you, Sierra, our production manager, as well as April and Melissa and the entire team. Oh my gosh, and then we have so many people joining us. Today, we have a special guest that many of you know. So Suzanne Drace, actually our manager at both Carlsbad as well as Del Mar. And I will tell you guys, literally, Suzanne, if there's anyone that gives me a hard time, okay, it's going to be Suzanne, right? So there's like the nicest person in the company, right? There is a guy actually who's the nicest person in the company. And then there's like the person that gives me the hardest time, right? And guess who that is? That's Suzanne Drace, right? Actually, a close second is Nancy Lane. Just as a side note, a close second is Nancy, but number one is Suzanne Drace. And today I'm going to have her do some introduction in terms of like her past all the way till now. So that'll be the first 3 hours. No, I'm joking, I'm joking. But I thought it would just be cool to like meet direct with Suzanne, have you learn about Suzanne and her coaching business, as well as just, lots of her background. And then even kind of beyond that, what she's doing with agents in Windermere Homes and Estates, and just all the stuff that's coming from that at a Ninja, as well as agent productivity and growth, and especially for brand new agents and then teams. So welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Happy Friday to everybody.
Awesome. So as a show of hands, raise your hand and wave to me if you can hear both of us perfect.
Oh, good.
Now the people that just have their picture up, I was literally staring at Stan, who's just got a stagnant photo, and I was like, why is Stan not raising his hand? All right, so before we get started on this whole coaching thing, I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago when we were on with Matt around the power of coaching. And I've had 2 coaching experiences in my real estate career. The first one, I literally hired a coach that I never met, and it was before like Zoom days. So we just jumped on a phone call. I saw her picture as a business and executive coach online, and hired her because of her experience and the people that she worked with. And it was the most powerful coaching experience I'd ever had. I've got to be honest with you, it was kind of nice because I never had to meet her. I mean, I had this kind of accountability coach in place, and every single week I had this ability to unpack kind of like the hard parts of the business, right, that we all have, but then also be stretched into the next level, right? Because there's this kind of comfort zone thing that we as agents battle with. And the way I look at comfort zone really is like repelling us from others. So we keep ourselves in a comfort zone as a way to kind of keep ourselves from others, because the uncertainty is too great for us, right? And so having that coaching piece in place, especially in a business that's so relationship driven, right? Like being in front of or talking with people that we don't know, but we'd love to know because we'd love to help them, right? Is such a huge part of the business. And yet getting out of our own way and doing that in new and innovative ways that's what coaching is all about. And I know Suzanne's got some incredible experience with that, as well as some great success stories in that area. So then, and I mentioned the second coach that I had was Hal Elrod, who wrote the book Miracle Morning. And that was another deal where it was just on the phone. It wasn't even Zoom, right? But man, I mean, he held me to the fire. Like it was like one of those deals where I was like, I had to have my act together. And if it wasn't together, then, I was really stealing from myself. And you know what, as sole proprietors, each of us really needs structure if we're a good boss to ourselves, right? You guys have heard me talk about being a good boss to yourself. So like wake up, drink some water, but have a coach, right? Especially if we're going to become better and more skilled in this business. So Suzanne, with that introduction, unpack like where you've been, like why, like, oh my gosh, tell us the story.
How did I arrive? How did I come to be?
Yeah.
Well, I will definitely say I did not grow up thinking that I would be a realtor or in real estate for that matter. That was probably the last thing I ever thought of. I will say that I was just one of those friends where everyone would ask me for advice, would want to know how I felt about something, my opinion, my thoughts, what have you. And then I went through high school and I had an awesome teacher, and she really inspired me to become a teacher, actually. So I went through college, university, got my teaching credential. I taught high school history because I love history. Taught high school history for about 6 years.
You serious? You love history?
I do.
Okay.
Don't ask me about it
Okay.
today,
All right.
but kind of forgot about it.
Okay.
More like modern history. So then I actually, I played sports my whole life too. So I've always kind of had a coach in my life. And quite honestly, I always respected all of my coaches. I respected all of my teachers. And so it's always just been this kind of natural thing for me that it's innate is what I've found. And so I started teaching high school, and then they asked me to coach girls volleyball, girls soccer. So I've been essentially a coach, not in real estate in the very beginnings of my career. And so then I moved to San Francisco Bay Area, and my mother-in-law had an extremely thriving boutique real estate company in Santa Rosa, California, in Sonoma County. And she sold vineyards, ranches, estates, like super high end everything. And she was getting up there in the age, she was in her 70s. And she knew at some point that she did not want to be the broker of record forever. She wanted to pass the business along. And so being that I was married to her son, she thought, wow, since I was doing pretty well in real estate in 2001, I've been doing this for 20 years now. This is my 20th year.
Whoa.
Yeah. Who knew, right?
Time flies.
It really does. So essentially we started putting a plan together where we would I would take, be her right-hand woman essentially, and really, really dive deep into the business, not just selling real estate as much, and really learning the back end of the business. And so we ended up having 2 offices with over, 100 agents or so in Santa Rosa and Petaluma, California, if you know where Petaluma is as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up just managing those 2 offices just naturally, and still selling real estate. So I always had my hands in real estate. But then what I came to find is that agents really needed extra help. They didn't want to just, go through transaction and muddling through everything, which is kind of actually how I learned. I didn't have a coach.
Mhm.
My mother-in-law was supposed to be my coach, but it was trial by fire. I did a contract all by myself. Nobody helped me. I just literally had to memorize the residential purchase agreement. I didn't have that. She just was throw you in and good luck.
Right.
So I think that's why I also felt like real estate coaching is super important, because I struggled. I really struggled. And so with that being said, we ended up actually joining forces together and joined Pacific Union Real Estate, which is now another competitor name, which we will remain unnamed, like Nancy Lane likes to say. And I just really felt like I found my place coaching the agents. And so I've essentially been doing that and still selling real estate since we sold the business in 2012. So it's really kind of expanded upon that. So what we're talking 9 years now, in particular, doing all of that.
Mm-hmm. When I hear the name coach, and I know there's some people that are totally going to be shaking their head yes on this. When I hear the name coach, I think of like the guy that made me run between goalposts back in middle school, where like, how every kid gets like that weird side ache.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I think of when I think of coach. And I think I want to kill that image, right? Because you work on so much more, right? And it's not just like do the work, right? There's also that kind of like scaling the business with your lifestyle. Are you getting from this what you wanted to when you started, right? Like when you started, you're like, yeah, I want to work for myself. I want to help others. Are you helping others? Are you working for yourself, right? Or are you now a slave to, the job still, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you work on all facets, right? Not just the tactical, right? But the strategic.
Yeah, absolutely. The strategic, because we all want results, right? That's the most important part. You want to hire a coach or have somebody by your side because you want results. But really it's a full balance of your life. I think your diet is important. I think exercise is important. Your mindset, everything is all encompassing, because if you don't feel good, you're not going to be able to work good, and you're not going to be able to serve your clients at the highest level. And really at the end of the day, I mean, why are we in real estate? it's really not because we have a lot of free time. I mean, let's be honest here. You're going to have clients that, 365, 7 days a week are going to say, hey, I want to go look at properties and it's Christmas. Yay. That's what happens. So it's super important for me to share with you how everything in your life is all encompassing and really affects and is important in your business.
And yet there's this kind of addiction as well in real estate to being busy.
True.
Right.
Yes.
So like the power of being busy, right?
Yeah.
But then you're not seeing the results, right? So then you're able to align people into results. So if you're going to do the work, right, then you hopefully see the results out of it. So it's getting kind of that balance, that fulcrum, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We do. You make a really good point, because I think sometimes real estate agents work themselves to death, and they're not feeling good, and they're not serving their clients at that high level. They're tired. Oh my gosh, I had to show 15 properties today and no one's writing an offer. And then you do it again the next day and the next day and the next day. And then you start to feel frustrated. And so really, it's really about aligning your lifestyle, just like ninja selling. In ninja selling, it's building systems around your business and your life so that you can have a life. So that's really kind of my expertise, where I come from, and what's important that I can convey to the agents to build their businesses.
And then sometimes there's a group on the show right now, and they have a lot of free time, right? And you guys are filled with shame because you're not actually structured, right? Like there's this lack of structure. And so you work on that, right? Like, no, it doesn't mean like structuring your full 8 hours, right? But you can get so much done, like from 9 to noon.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right.
We talk a lot about not just, me personally, but also just in ninja selling, we talk about having a morning routine. Every single athlete, professional athlete, they all have coaches, actors, actresses, musicians, artists. All those people actually have coaches, and they have a morning routine. That is a proven statistic out there, indicating the fact that if you have a stable routine each and every day, you will actually be more productive. And so when, you might think, oh, I get up and have my coffee and that's part of my routine. But are you instilling gratitude in your life? Are you thankful for that coffee? Are you thankful for your dog that's kissing you in the morning, that's so happy to see you, right? Coffee,
absolutely.
Things like that. It's not, you really have to instill, I love the word positivity, but it's not always about being positive, right? Life lifes you. At the end of the day, life lifes you. So you have life lifes you.
Life's you.
Yes.
Got you.
It does. And so you got to be able, and you all know, being in real estate, you got to roll with the punches. My mother-in-law taught me, she was British, and she would say, Suzanne, it's like water off a duck's back. You're not going to get every listing. You're not going to get every sale. Your buyers aren't always going to get the house that they wanted, and that we're facing that today, right? And so you just got to say next, what's next? And you got to keep moving forward. It's the only way we can really, in some ways, survive in real estate.
I love that. I think so much of the time we just kind of lose track, and so you keep people on. So, okay, let's get into this ninja coaching thing, and and then also your background with Buffini, right? I'd love to, let's talk this. We've got like a Buffini coach, right?
Yes,
certified coach, like ninja coach.
Yes.
I went back to Fort Collins, and actually Larry Kendall was the trainer for whatever the 3 or 4 days. And I loved this whole ninja selling to me, because it is so much more than, for those of you that have met with me, I'm so much more than just the send out your postcards, right? And do your like this and that, because if you just do that, but you kind of hate your life, then it won't happen, right? Like over time, like you'll just stop doing it, right? And then, so I'm so much more. And that's when it comes to like motivation and getting ourselves, I guess, complete. So becoming whole people, right? Not using the business to make ourselves whole. Okay, did you hear that? That's like what if you're an incomplete person and then you use the business to make you feel whole? Well, the problem with that is that you're only as good as your next deal, right? In that world, right? So you're basically not whole until you do another deal, but then once you do another deal, you got to do another deal, right? So you're always chasing that, right? So there's that kind of wholeness aspect that I think Ninja really works with. And so I'd love for because you have like between 20 and 30 people on every single week. Ninja's a free, and I dare say free, right? Because when I say free to any real estate agent, they're like, oh, it's free, so it's not valuable. No, it's like, we should just charge. Well, we should charge $100 every single week, right? But instead, it's like Ninja Coaching's free. That's how much Rich believes in Ninja Coaching for you guys, that we pay Suzanne to come on and meet with 20, 30 of you, depending on the week, right? I'd like to see that double, but let's hear about like some of the things that have come out of that for you and why you love Ninja.
So since I've been in the business a little while, I've seen many coaches, and like James said, I did work for Brian Buffini directly. I was one of his broker consultant coaches. And so I had 500 national accounts. So I was not only working with Americans, I also had Canadian accounts. And so that gave me a ton of experience, not only like knowing different marketplaces, because I was dealing with small town, Ryan Maybe's here from Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. And then we had large accounts in Toronto.
Right.
So that really gave me probably one of my greatest experiences in coaching. And then, of course, I've gone to every seminar, Tony Robbins and Tom Ferry and his dad, Mike Ferry. I've been to almost every coaching possible seminar possible. Yeah. So with each of those things, you get a lot of growth. And so Rich gave me the opportunity to become a certified Ninja coach. And so it's been about 2 years, actually, maybe 3 now, that I went up to Washington for 5 days of intensive 8 to 5 training. And we broke for lunch, and that was about it. So it's very intense. And it really gave me, I think I like the entire word of the holistic approach, because Ninja selling is holistic. And it's really, it starts out beginning and talking about your mindset. Where are you at? Do you have a closed mindset, or do you have an open mindset? Are you open to new things? Because you're going to have to be in real estate, right? You have to be flexible. You have to be open to new ideas and concepts and situations and challenges that you're going to have to handle, and be that facilitator. And so when you have that whole life, whole body, whole mind mentality, you're going to be way more productive and way more successful. And so beginning with the whole system, it's a system to have a life as a realtor. That is literally the mission of Ninja Selling.
Wow.
And so once I was able to get certified, then I was able to bring it back to the company, and Rich, asked myself and Rainey Gordy to also be the main Ninja coaches for the company. And so it's been really a great experience to instill not only my experience as my life and what I've done in real estate, but also going through the process of what is your system, your 8-touch system? How are you staying in front of your people? Or do you just say, I hear it all the time. I don't think I want to reach out to that person. I haven't talked to them in 5 years. Well, then you need to make that decision, right? So it really goes through the process of, here are 8 ways in which you need to stay in touch with your people. And then you need to do it, right? A lot of times, as you probably have heard in your experience as well, even when we're interviewing agents for recruiting, it's, well, are you going to give me any leads? Well, your leads are your people, your database, your sphere of influence, your Facebook friends, your Instagram friends, your LinkedIn people. Those are all your people. And the other part is really, the other systems are, the listing consultation, the buyer's consultation. It is step-by-step process. There is no reason that you cannot do it.
Well, thank you. So April, I know we have a couple of questions out there in Zoom world. Could you jump on and let us know what they are?
Yes, definitely. Hi, Suzanne. First of all, I have to say that I learn something new about Suzanne every day, because I didn't know you played volleyball and coached volleyball, and I coached volleyball once upon a time. So that's very exciting. I would love to know, and this is a personal thing that I wanted, and I was really excited for this, is how do you find the best way to connect and coach all these different agents? We house over 400 agents in all our offices. What have you found that works best for you, so they know how they can connect with you the best way?
That's actually a really good question. The best way.
Do you have any questions?
I'm always very reachable. I think most of you that I work with directly know that, I text, I call, I email, and I'll catch you on your social media accounts. And sometimes I feel a little creepy because you might think like, why is she responding to my post like that? I really do take that personal level in connecting with everybody, because really at the end of the day, we're in a relationship business, and I am in relationship with you just as much as you are in relationship with your clients. And so any way possible, I am not afraid. I'm on this right here. You can't be afraid of video. You've got to embrace it. And so if I'm going to reach out to you via video text or texting you or email, every avenue possible, that's how I'm going to connect with the agents. Absolutely. I love it. I'm actually really excited to have our live office meetings again, because now I went to the Rancho Bernardo one a few weeks ago. I got to hug people. I mean, many of you might not want to hug people right now, but I do. So it's connecting in that way.
So how she connects is hugs you. Got it.
I'm a hugger.
Got it. She's a hugger.
So other questions, April?
Yeah, I have one from Steven. How do you get over the mindset of I won't be complete until I arrive?
Ooh. Who asked that?
That was Steven.
Boom.
Steven, wow.
Oh, I love this.
How do you know when you arrive? You actually just know. You literally will just know when you have arrived. And you also have to embrace the fact that, do we ever actually arrive? Are we not always personally growing? And that's part of ninja selling too. That's part of life. Like I hope when we talk about mindset, it's also our brain set, right? Are we always open to whatever comes our way? Because if you're just, to me, when you think you've arrived and you're done, I don't think that's real. I think we are constantly changing and growing. I mean, who I was at 18 years old and me now at 49, not the same person. I'm not even the same person at 40.
Well, don't we like lose every cell? Like, don't we like every 7 years? Yeah,
we regenerate. So yeah, I mean, you can have that mindset, if you will, of that you think you've arrived, but really if you can arrive in stages. It's a goal. I would look at it like that. You know, is your goal to have this amount of production this year, and then next year it's something else. So constantly moving forward to your arrival, if you will.
I'll just jump in and just, I remember my first office, the Windermere owner noticed that I was in such a rush, and I was just kept on just rushing from one event to the next, one listing appointment to the next. And I was doing a lot of deals at that time. I was doing between 70 and 80 transactions a year. And I was obviously doing more than most in the office, but I guess I appeared like I was so dissatisfied. And he goes, he pulls me, he used to stand on the deck with his hands behind his back, smoking a cigar. And, you know, it was this weird kind of like grandfather experience, right? Where I was out on the deck and, you know, in my early 20s, and I was like, yeah, what do you want? And he just said, I just don't know why you're in such a rush. Because when you get there, then what will you do? And I realized that when he asked that, what he was really saying is you're already there, right? Like to say we haven't arrived really is to say we're not complete, but someday if we just do this or we just do that. And I remember kind of going through this in my 30s where I was like, is this it? Is this what is this? Am I just gonna, like, on my tombstone, is it gonna say he sold some houses? You know, well, you know, he sure sold the F out of houses, right? You know, kind of thing, right? So, and I was like, okay, so that's fair, right? That's a little wake up call, right? That your enoughness is right before you right now. So in that, right, the whipped cream is the meeting new clients and being able to serve people like in your coaching business, right? Or being able, you know, the gratitude aspect, which is, you know, I mean, and it's like, oh, you got to have gratitude, do your affirmations in the morning. No. Now we're turning it into a checkbox. Okay. I mean, this is like uncheckboxing. Like, let's get rid of the to-do list. And let's just show up, right? Because you're here like flying through an endless space, right? On a ball, okay? right? And it's a little really small ball, even though we think it's huge. And then one day you're just not here, right? So with that, are you going to fully show up in your business, right? I think coaching really helps that. But are there some success stories, whether in your individual coaching business or in with the Buffini and or Ninja, where you saw kind of that evolution of someone?
Oh, absolutely. You will literally, when I'm speaking with people, you literally see like the light bulb turn on. And
I bet you that's the moment for you too, right?
yes, it feels, when we're talking about serving others in real estate, that's what we do. That in my role is what really makes it worthwhile for me, because I will literally see that look in their eye like, oh, I got it. Or if the agents land on that listing that I helped prepare them for and they get the listing, like for me, that just brings me so much joy. And that's the other part, I really want you to have joy in your life too. That's really, really needs to be part of your mindset. But landing those listings, getting that offer through, especially right now, we're getting a lot of you agents, how do I write the best offer? And so you have to ask those questions of your clients. You can serve them at the highest level because you have gathered so much information, right? And that's the other thing with Ninja selling is part of it is the actual system in which you ask questions to people, not just to build rapport, but also how you can actually find out what is best for them so they get the success. So it's kind of like a multi-layered situation. But yeah, I love the fact when agents or growing teams, right? So if we see an agent that says, hey, I want to start a team, Giovanni Ruiz, for example, in Escondido, it was he and his partner, Jose, and that was it. And their TC Martha. And now Giovanni has like 8 agents on his team. So things like that. And I know that I've had an integral role, and Carl has had an integral role with Giovanni and growing his team and helping him along with making those decisions on what is the best path for him and what it looks like for him. And that's really also what I love, is helping agents build those plans. And I think the question that also agents have to ask themselves is if they are coachable. Right? Because if you're going to resist every advice that you're given, did you ever have a coach that you hated and you're like, I'm not doing anything that person says, then maybe that's not the right coach for you.
Yeah.
So it's really, you also have to ask yourself if you're coachable.
That's interesting.
I have one more question for you. So going back to growth, what do you tell new and seasoned agents about, embracing change, whether it be in the market or in the technology or selling?
Can you start at the beginning of the question? I missed the first part.
Yes.
Yeah,
Going back to
yeah.
growth, what do you tell new and seasoned agents about embracing change, whether it be in the market or embracing change in technology or even in selling?
Well, you got to embrace it.
Embrace it. Next.
That's pretty much it. You do have to embrace it. You really, if you're going to have resistance in embracing anything of your growth, you're going to have resistance almost in every facet of your life, right? You're going to say no to things that maybe you shouldn't be saying no to because it is stunting your growth in a way, if we're talking about growth, right? So yes, you have to embrace it. And, right now, I'm just speaking from my experience. I see seasoned agents that are not grasping technology, and it's hard because everything will take them longer to do. If you just work on something one day at a time or one item at a time, like how do I make a video and text it to a client? For those of you that don't want to embrace that technology, if you just work on that one skill and then master it and then move to the next. Don't we talk about, drinking from the fire hose all the time in real estate, right? If you're going to just keep drinking from you're just going to get wet. You're not going to quench your thirst when you're drinking from a fire hose all the time, right? So think about doing one thing at a time, mastering it, and don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself some grace and then move on to the next. But we really do. I mean, I'm been in this, as I've said 3 times already, for a while. And I have seen, oh my gosh, we had the books, the MLS books when I very first was licensed. And now what? Now we have Zillow and Redfin, and our clients are telling us what the listings are.
Right.
So you have to embrace it.
They still need us though, right? They have access to photos. They can do walk through the house. They can see the video. They can go to YouTube and find out about the community, and then they can go and and I mean, like I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago, people are looking at, houses the day they close on the house they just bought, right? Like, so this is a pastime. People don't turn off their searches, but they still need us. So actually the next segue, which you set up perfectly for me, thank you, was around this whole Teams thing. And there's a huge group of people, and also on this call, that have talked to me about, like, when is it right,
Yes.
to start a team? Should I start a team? Okay, here's the thing. There's a huge group of you that joined the whole ranks as a real estate agent, so you don't have to have people working for you, right? So you don't have to oversee people and be a leader and all that. All you have to do is just worry about yourself, right? And you love it, and you've done it, and it's been great. But then now you're looking at your business, you're like, well, I want more time, right? Whether it's just, that point in your life with kids, or you want to travel more, or, you're getting to that point where you're like, am I ever going to be able to retire, or, whatever, right? Like, there's this huge, right, reason to diversify yourself, right? So it's super fun early on. You're like, oh, I'm everything to everyone, right? I'm the photographer, I'm the contractor, I'm the I'm everything. And then of course there's this group of agents that are like, that actually have realized they can't be everything to everyone, and they've educated their clients. And then once you have your clients know this about you, right, then any referrals you receive also know this about you, that you have a team, right, that it isn't you only, right? And so there's a group of you that also have thought, I really need to do this, partly because you want to be able to sell your business someday, which is the biggest shame in this whole thing, is that people grow these amazing businesses and then they never create some sort of like sellable thing, an exit plan, right? And then one thing leads to another, and you just like, I'm just going to do less deals this year, and the next year I'll do less deals, and then at one point I won't even market myself, but I'm still doing deal. And then and then we see that, oh my gosh, she died.
Literally. Yeah.
Like literally, like that is not an exit strategy, guys. I died is not an exit strategy, right? So you can stay in the biz and sell it. Like, it's like the dentist that goes down to like 2 days a week, but has someone else working 3 days or 5 or 4 days, right? So at any rate, so Suzanne, tell us, what is the thinking? Where's the line? Now, there's a line where you really should have an assistant,
Yeah.
or at least a TC. Obviously, we've got tons of TCs that work for our companies, but then also maybe there's a need for an assistant, right? Where's that line? And then, I remember I hired 3 buyer's agents in my business, and it's just like, well, they just don't do it the way I do it, right? This one guy was like, sorry, I can't work on Martin Luther King Day. I send him, to this day, happy Martin Luther King Day. I sent him I sent him flowers actually every single Martin Luther King Day, because we had a buyer. I'm like, dude, you got to work on Martin Luther King Day. Buyer, that's the buyer I gave you, right? So like, how do you hire buyer's agents, or even like listing coordinators, or like, and you can't cover all that today, but like, what is your team's coaching like?
So team coaching is really, there usually you want to decide if you want to be a team leader, right? So you need to have experience, right? We do not suggest that brand new agents make teams, or unless they want to partner up with somebody. That could be a good aspect to start with. But you have to be in a mindset as a team leader that you are actually a coach. We've had some team leaders in the past that they just go, oh, here, do this and do that and watch this video, right? They were not hands-on. They didn't help their agents, their buyer's agents, for example. They weren't helping them, and they would come to me as a manager. Those agents would see, like, I don't know how to do this. My coach is out showing property, and I have this to do and that to do. And so you really are a coach when you are a team leader. So you have to know how to educate your agents. And then, like you said, well, they don't do it just like me. Nobody's going to do it just like you. I mean, we're all human individuals. So really, you are giving them the foundation. Checklists actually work really well with team leaders in order to coach the agents that are on their team. So really being in a system. And that's also why Ninja Selling is very important, is because those systems are tangible to agents that you are training. You could have your team and have them go through the Ninja Selling coaching or our coaching and set up that foundation for them. And then you're just being the leader, right? And you're directing them how best to maybe do other skills in the business. Shadowing, I think, is really important now that we can actually be in front of people, going on physical listing appointments or showing property now. I think shadowing is really important for a team leader to also do, is really giving them that experience. Being experiential in real estate is really how we learn the best. So building a team, you have to be in it for a long time. You have to understand the aspects of being a coach. And then you also have to give time. Giving time to your team is what they need. And if you're rushing around and you're just a listing agent, and you're always on the go, maybe that's not the best avenue for you to be a team leader, because you have to be with your agents step by step, just like I do. I'm a mentor here at the company, and I have 5 mentees right now, and I can't not ignore I have to take their calls. You know, they're in I need this right now, Suzanne type situation. So you have to be available. So it's really, there's a thought process in going into the role of being a team leader. And then once we can digest how you want to have your team look like, you also have to figure out your business plan. Like, what does that look like for you? And then we can go through the process of, okay, like you said, I'm going to hire an assistant first, and I'm going to teach my assistant the needs that I have in order to grow my business. Then you have your transaction coordinator, and your transaction coordinator, by the way, is not your assistant. That's a whole different conversation. And then you can get a buyer's agent, and then you can get a showing agent, and then you just kind of gradually grow it. And then before you know it, you're going to have 10 agents underneath you as a team leader. So you're making passive income too.
And do you put a lead system in place when you're,
So many of the agents, actually a lot of our teams, they will still use like Red X or Mojo Dialer. So they're actually dialing for dollars, as we like to call it. They have their system set up for lead generation. Follow Up Boss is another program that a lot of our team leaders also use in order to get lead gen. In the past, they were paying Zillow a lot of money to get leads and then funnel them down to their agents. And I think that's slowed down quite a bit.
Right. And then there's also Ojo Labs, as well as Ops City. So yeah, just many different. One of the things that mistake I made was, and you probably have seen this, where it's like I mentioned earlier, I'm handing off my precious sphere, buyers and sellers, to listing coordinators and or a buyer's agent, and then of course they're not helping them the way I would want them. So one of the benefits is to have those leads, the people that you don't even know as the team lead, right? And you have a system for kind of disseminating leads out and then tracking the response rate and conversion ratio and that kind of thing of your team. And then all of a sudden it matters a little bit less to you, right? Because they're not your precious sphere that they're working with, right? You have a system in place. But check this out. I was with someone yesterday, and he was saying, I think I'm just going to join a team. Now, we hear that a lot, and that normally a person says that when they're not doing any business, right? Is just joining a team a good solution for those people who are having a hard time getting business right now? Or is there something else you should do before that?
I think you have to have the basics and the foundation down in the beginning, quite frankly. You actually should know you actually have to know the basics of real estate, right? You have to have a database, and you have to have your sphere of influence, bottom line. And then you can actually have the extra lead generation from that team leader to kind of fluff up your business, for example. So really, you have to know who your people are at the minimum. You've got to know your people. You've got to be talking to people at the very, very least. And then you can just add into, I think teams are a great avenue for lead generation. There are times too when we get folks that move into the area for real estate from another town, and they feel like they're starting over, or from ground zero. So I think it's really important that you just have the basics foundation. And again, you have to be coachable, right? If you're going to join a team, you have to make sure it's the right fit for you too. So I would also suggest, if you are one of those folks that wants to join a team, you interview a bunch of our different team leaders, and I can help you with that as well, to see what fit is right for you, because someone in Escondido might not be the right fit for somebody in Scripps Ranch or Del Mar versus Carlsbad, whatever it might be. So it's really important to interview for if you want to be on a team as well.
Nice. April, do we have any new questions out there in Zoom or Facebook world? I'm going to say Facebook world just because Sierra is literally like a stone's throw for me, and she manages the questions out in Facebook, but I don't want to have the weird like Zoom interaction, right? So maybe Sarah, you can send questions to April.
So actually, the excellent Melissa is managing Facebook Live today because she wanted to do it.
Okay.
So I know she has a few questions though.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Melissa.
So, Suzanne, what advice would you have given yourself when you started real estate?
Oh, wow.
What
advice would I give my younger self?
Oh, I love this one.
You've just got to be tenacious. Actually, you cannot be shy. You have to learn that, to be flexible. I think that's why I said it, because if you're going to be rooted in a place of this is black and white, there's a lot of gray in real estate. So I would tell myself that I need to loosen up a little bit and not force a transaction, force a listing, and always know that there is more. There's always a next. Just because you lose out on a listing doesn't mean that's the end of your career, right? So you just have to keep forging ahead and not having that frame of mind where you think this is it. This is it. Like the question earlier, I've arrived. Yeah. Well,
no, you kind of haven't.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's a really great question. Can I answer it though?
Are you going to answer for me or for yourself?
No, I'm going to answer for, I'll answer for you and me.
Okay.
Can I answer for me, Melissa? Were you done?
Yeah, I'm done now.
Yeah, go for it.
I honestly think that, of course, right now my brain went completely blank. No, I honestly think, and I talked to Suzanne about this the other day, the problem is most of us spend years knowing what we don't want, right? Instead of what we do want. So it's like that clarification, that clear, like the picture is so vivid, it's full color, right? Of what you want, right? And I've talked to many of you, and you guys know who you are, where I'm like, what do you want? And I was like, I don't know. How much do you need to make? I don't know. How many sales do you need to do this year? I don't know. What's your perfect client? I don't know, right? What they do know is that they don't want to, and then of course people know exactly what they don't want, but they don't know what they do want, or they don't spend enough time on what they do want. And so it wasn't until I got so crystal clear on what I wanted, which was I was able to figure out exactly how many deals it would take to make exactly how much money I needed to make, right? And I realized exactly where those deals would come from, right? Through the activities that I would do, right? And the person I was, right? Because I knew that I would attract who I was. And once I had that clarity, game over. So there's people out there like, well, I haven't sold anything in a year. Okay, so you just don't have a plan, right? You don't have the clear basics, right? So take yourself on a 3-hour drive with a yellow pad and write down exactly what you want, and pull out a calculator and do the math on average of 700 or 800 grand into how much you want to, times 2.5% into how much you want to make that year, and figure out the numbers. And then let's do some coaching around that, put the activities together, right? Make sure you're a whole person as you show up for real estate, and all of a sudden, boom. Yeah.
That's it, 100%. And that's kind of what we do. That's not kind of what we do. That is what we do when we coach. It's really, you have to know your numbers as well, and really breaking it into, it could be like what we were talking about the other day. If I only worked with 6 people, this is all I need to do all year long to make the income that I want. Like, we can break it down to that level of, how many people you need to work with, you need to know who you need to work with, and just how many transactions you do for the income that you want. And then, like you said, then we base the coaching around that, and the holistic approach as well. On top of the fact of the beauty of what we do is we get to choose. Life is always about choice. Everything we do is a choice. We get to choose who we want to work with.
Mhm.
right? You can choose to work with mean people or you can choose to work with really great people. So that's the best thing. One of the beautiful things about real estate, being an entrepreneur in general, you get to create your audience and your people.
David Goodman on the show, he loves mean people because he likes to be meaner, right, David? David, unmute. Right? Is he here?
Yes, I'm here. What's going on?
No, but David, you worked as an REO agent, right? So it was like, you just had to be that guy, right? And
Yeah,
you had to just say, the party line of the bank, right?
You
And not
don't
put
have,
up with,
you
right?
you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You work for an evil corporation and you're the face of that corporation. You're the only face that they see after 7 or 8 years of fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so you were like a really bad guy to see. I mean, you were kind of like the
bad
corner.
cop.
You were the coroner coming to their bad cop. And so, but when we talked, you're like, no, I want to, like, I need some joy in this thing, right? If I'm going to run this out another 30 years, right?
I was close to a heart attack, probably.
Yeah. And so you want joy, right? So it's like, okay. And, you get what you are, right? So like, yeah. So, this whole idea around reframing what we want and getting really, really crystal clear on that, right? Rather than just chasing like the old ways we made money is such an important part of like where you are now and where you're going, right?
I hope so.
All right. Awesome. All right.
David, so. Not
Yeah.
I know so. Yes, thank
Well, I
you.
love that. It's that language, right? It's like, a friend of mine, she said, I'm a people pleaser. Okay. And by the way, she was telling me that, like complaining about herself. And I'm like, let's reframe that.
Yeah.
Let's call, I'm a recovering people pleaser, right? And by the way, there's nothing wrong with pleasing your clients, right? But not at the expense of not knowing your kids' birthdays and not making it to the soccer games and not taking care of yourself and right, like all those things, right?
All
There's
your values, your self-integrity,
Yeah.
like you need to have those all aligned, and that's part of what we do in coaching too. That's why it's a holistic approach. We don't
Yeah.
just talk about necessarily, yes, we talk about your business and getting your results, but it's also like, who are you as a person and what do you want? Because you can do and be anything that you want, especially in real estate, and you can make as much money as you want or not as much money as you want. It's really, you can create all of it.
Yeah, right. Is there an audio problem or are we good, April?
We should be good.
Yeah.
Yes. We have a few more questions.
Yes.
I have one from Terry. I am cold calling my farm. Any tips on the reasons for the calls or tips in general?
So cold calling, if you're calling a farm, then you should probably know what the what's going on in your farm, what sales have recently happened, what's active, what's pending, because what's going to happen 9 times out of 10, those calls that you're making, they're already going to know, quite possibly. So you need to know the activity of that actual farm, what is happening, what has happened. And with the pace of this market, you really probably only have to go back maybe 40, 45 days, maybe 60 days just to look at see what the past sales are, but all the activity in your farm. And then also, where does that farm fit within the community, right? So is it a farm that's outside of Carlsbad Village that's right there near the village? What's going on? What's the activity? What kinds of, what's the demographic? What do they like to do? So knowing about the community as well, on top of the actual activity of that farm, you need to be the expert. You need to know exactly what you're talking about.
Nice. Do you call them or do you just walk the neighborhood?
We can walk now. We can walk the neighborhood now. We couldn't for a while because of the virus, but we can do flyer drops now. We can do door knocking. But again, you're going to face, I'm not telling you not to do it, but it's also a situation where people, one might still be afraid to answer the door. So if you want to just do a flyer knock.
You can't do door knocking yet, Suzanne. Not by the state rules. You can leave flyers.
Like I said, she's the meanest of everyone. Yeah.
Sorry, I just don't want that to get out there that people are door knocking. Don't door knock.
Just kidding, everyone.
Leave flyers. Don't door knock.
Flyers,
Yeah.
flyer drop.
But you can leave
flyer
flyers. You can invite the neighbors, right?
Yes.
To a sneak peek of the open house,
Absolutely.
right? And you can actually say, it's going to be 1 hour before the published open house, right? And
Yes.
you know, they can come through. You're like, hey guys, I know you wanted to see the kitchen and you wanted to
Absolutely.
know, yeah, you want to do all that, right? And then
Just
you can
keep
like
social distance, masks,
right,
sanitizer.
you just hold everyone at like this, right? And then
Sounds 6 feet, though.
this is easily 6 feet. And so then and then after, right, you can go back and you can tell everyone, man, we got 3 offers. I can tell you exactly how much we sold for, but I can tell you right now, you have an equally nice kitchen, right? So
Exactly.
you're
Fun
gonna-
fact, fingertip to fingertip is 9 times out of 10. It's not exact, but pretty close to your height.
Okay, you're still on the 6 feet thing?
Yes.
Okay.
You said half was 6 feet. I'm just saying, that's your height, fingertip to fingertip.
So everyone.
Guy thing. I'm just saying.
Okay, all right. Okay, so you know what? This has been
That
this
could go a different
so
place.
this so here's the thing. Guys, we have a coach at our complete and total disposal. Okay, free coaching, right? Also individual solo agent coaching, as well as if you're a team or you're just thinking about becoming a team, like team aspect coaching. I also know that Suzanne works with teams, right? Like, so they use Suzanne as a weekly, almost like staff meeting, right? Where she's leading that. And it takes the pressure off a little bit of like policing your team. And she's kind of keeping that accountability going, right? So let's amp it up. Let's do a business reset for the next 6 months. Because guess what? Boom, we're already in 6. We're 6 months, right? And I mean, the entire company is committed to every single one of you doing 3 more deals this year than you did last, right? And the main way to do that is systems, right? Holistically running your business, moving your business to the next level, showing up, right? Relationship building, not hiding, not being a secret agent. No more of that, right? So how do they get a hold of you and find out about your coaching products?
Well, I'm here.
Like you're like right here, right?
I'm here tomorrow. No, always, you all have access to my phone number, my email. I'm here in Carlsbad and Del Mar throughout the week. I'm just a phone call, text away. Absolutely would love to meet, set up any kind of appointment with you just to strategize and see, even just have a discussion about even what your thoughts are. Because you could come to me and say, well, I'm thinking about this. Okay, well, then let's talk about what that looks like.
Do you have a discovery call? Like, is there like a
Yes,
30-minute no
absolutely.
charge
That is
deal?
correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you
Okay.
for bringing that.
And then what's the name of your coaching business?
The coaching business is called Envision Coaching. So I envision for you living your best life, right? Living who you want to be and enjoying your life, and also making the money and having the success that you want.
Anything else you'd like to talk to the team
No,
today?
this has been really
All right.
wonderful.
Any other questions? I kind of feel like there
Can I
might.
jump in real quick? Just a
Yes.
teeny bit? Because I've sent people to Suzanne. Suzanne picked up on that. I've sent people to Suzanne and she's amazing at turning them around. And I just wanted to add one thing to Stephen's question about how do you get over that? I'm waiting till I arrive to feel like
Love
I
it.
have success. Part of what Suzanne does is gives you the tools to arrive in every situation. So it's not a final arrival. It's I am prepared for this meeting. I am prepared for this presentation. I am prepared for this event. I am prepared for this month. And that
For this next
is,
minute.
Yeah.
for this minute, that's your arrival. So when it's like, remember when
I
you were in
love
high
that.
school and you were going in and you're taking a big test and you had studied, then you're prepared. You show up and you're like, I got this. That's arrival. And the same thing is true in real estate. When you've got Suzanne in your corner, you have that feeling of preparedness and you're ready and you're going to arrive and you're going to do it.
Nice.
Nice, Nancy. I love that.
And I got to go. Bye, everybody.
No, mic drop, mic drop. So April, any questions out there?
We have a few more, but I did have Melissa drop Suzanne's information. So guys, we're
Yes.
getting closer towards the end. So definitely reach out to her. As you guys know, she's full of knowledge. And the last question, it's from me, and I think this is just super important for everyone to know and for you to answer, is that if your entire career was gone tomorrow and you had to start fresh tomorrow, what would be the first thing that you would do to get started on your brand new real estate career?
Wow, April, that's kind of a lot right there.
Don't know.
Well, I really, no, quite honestly, I think
Yeah.
the last question we
Mhm.
talked about is really spending that time with yourself.
Mm.
I have a coach, actually, a life
Nice.
coach, that I did this activity the other day where I had to spend 4 hours by myself doing nothing, no phone, no interaction with my dogs, my family, nothing. And I will tell you, if you just sit with yourself, you will learn a lot about yourself. Your mind will go racing like crazy. So I would take some time by myself to figure out what maybe wasn't working and what was really working for me. And I would capitalize on what was really working for me. And then I get right back out there and start talking to my people. You got
I
to
love
start.
that.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
And
Real quick.
dwelling in that place of like, oh my gosh, I'm lost, I'm
Yeah.
confused. You can sit with that for a little while.
Yeah.
But that does you no good for long-term success. You got to keep moving forward.
Well, Suzanne, thanks so much for
you.
joining us
It's a
today. In the comments, obviously, Suzanne's email and phone number. We'll have a landing page soon with the products and the pricing. Remember, there's free coaching on the Ninja stuff. That comes out from Sean every week to you, right? So jump on, just jump on. I'd love to see that thing go from 30 to 60 for all of you to hear some of those nuggets. I've joined for the last couple of weeks, and it's been amazing stuff.
Book a discovery call with me.
Discovery call, 30 minutes. That's just a quick email away. You guys can figure something out. There's no charge for that, and there's no harm in that, right? So check it out. If Suzanne, right? Not everyone's going to be like a perfect fit with you, right?
Right.
So if it's not, you'll help them find someone,
That's
right?
Absolutely.
But I'd love to see a big group of our agents lean into coaching here to reset their business for the next 6. Okay, 2 weeks from now on the 18th. Is it the 18th? Yeah.
Mhm.
2 weeks
forward.
from now. Yeah, 2 weeks from now on the 18th, we're having Grant Finley on. Grant owns a company called Park Bench, and we've just created an alignment with Park Bench to do marketing, hyper-local marketing for agents, right? And it's a super cool thing. So if you've got like a farm or if you've got a zip code that you want to own, right? You're going to want to be on this show, because what I'm going to do is I'm having Grant join the show, right? We're going to unveil the product, right? And then tell you all how you can get in kind of like first, right? So there's going to be some founding involved agents in this, and Grant's going to unpack that for all of us. So on the 18th, put it in your calendar. Of course, we'll send you an invite. Suzanne, thanks so much for
you.
joining us.